Welcome back to the second video. If you have not watched the first video, you might want to take a look at that. I have the link under the description box. So this is a very dynamic dashboard that you would love to actually create with me. And I'm going to show you how to create everything 100% right here on my channel. So let us take a look at this one. So over here, we have this and we have a map right here. If what we want to see is actually a map, and we can click and our map is very dynamic. We can now actually look at what it is that is visible. A very custom map is what I'm going to show you how to create. So let us look at what this one is actually all about. So here is more of time series analysis, and you can see what we have right here. So if your aim is to actually create something like this, I'm going to show you how to actually have everything created. So before we get started, let us look at the PDF we have for this particular class. So over here, we have a PDF. On this PDF, just go ahead and check on dashboard 1. On the dashboard 1, we have actually created this particular part right here in the first video. Right now, we are starting with the second one, which is actually the performance of top and bottom drugs and as well customers. So I'm going to create something very much more dynamic than what I had ever been creating on my channel. So if you are very confident that you can do it, you can stop watching the video. But if you think there is something you should learn from here, go ahead and actually watch with me. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well, and leave a comment if that is what it is. So the next thing you have to do first, before we start this class, get the data downloaded to your system. All right, everyone, welcome back. If you're joining for the first time, go to the description of this video and actually watch the first video before you get here, for you to have the understanding of what we're going to do right now today. Okay, if you have been here before and you want to complete the project with me, let's see what we're going to do. So over here, this particular chart is very effective right now. So if I click on profit, so it's showing this chart by profit, but there is nothing that shows that we are looking at the chart here by profit. And if I click on the top right here, so it's showing me top by drug name, which doesn't really make any sense. And if I come over here and update this one to, 3 on the slide, so it's giving me top 3 by profit, and doesn't really make any sense because it's not showing me the names. So let's just look at this one here. So if you look at what we have right here, right now, we have the same thing, and we're going to build ours like this. So over here, I have this slide. If I change this particular place, before I make a change, look at this particular title we have right here. It says top or 5 top performing drugs by quantity sold. So what about if I use 3 over here instead of 5 and I update it? Look at what this one is going to give me. So now it's giving me 3 top performing drugs by quantity. If I click on this particular part here to choose transaction, so it's going to update my title to transaction for me. And it has done just that. If I go from top to bottom and I click on this, there you go. So we're going to have it to be like 3 underperforming drugs by transaction or by revenue. It depends on what you actually selected. This is exactly what we are going to create right now. So let's do it. Right now, we need to start the project. So the things you need to understand is how we got here. If you have been following me, you would have known that we created tables for this and for this particular one right here, and as well for this one. And those are the tables we're going to use to actually get our title created. So first of all, let us click on this particular active measure. For active measure, if I open it right here and I click over here, I'm going to have something like this. So let's go to here and take a look at it in table form. So when we are here, we click on the active measure we created in the previous video. So we have a particular part here called active measure order. So it's an order number that starts from 0, 1, 2, and 3. So try to remember this and try to remember what we have under active measure here. We have transaction, profit, revenue, and unit sold. So if you're going to actually forget this, take a screenshot of it or actually take a picture of it with your phone to remember what it is that you have. So that when you write in the code, it wouldn't be like, what am I going to put here? Okay, now let's get back here to understand something again. So over here, we have this particular switch drug top and bottom, right? That is this particular one. Let's quickly come over here and take a look at it. So which is this one? So this one here would help you to switch between top and bottom of whatever measure you have clicked on. So it has 0 and 1 and the same thing. So going back to here again, we have this particular one here where we have a slide that we can actually change the numbers of top and the numbers of bottom that we actually see. And that is this particular one right here. So we need to look at it as well. So if I click on over top bottom drugs, right, I'm going to have this particular one. It's a slide, right? It's a slide. So we can actually add slides to it here to understand it. So our slide. So I'm going to add slide to it. So the slide means it's a filter that we can actually slide and change the number. So once we have something like this, it will be very much well understood. So this is the first set of things you need to understand before we kickstart writing the measure. So the next thing right now is for we to actually start writing the measure in. So I'm going to actually have all of this open. Then I'll point out whatever I'm doing for you to see vividly what it is that we're actually doing. To kickstart our measure, I'm going to actually keep my measure right here for the time being. So I'm going to create a new measure. So don't forget to subscribe if you have not, and if you have, your comment is very important. Let me know what you feel about this particular video, and hit the like button to make sure this particular video go viral. So now we have a measure created. We have to give a measure name. So it's going to be title, and the title is going to be for drugs because we have for customers as well. So for under customers on, we just want to actually go ahead and copy all of this and just make a little change to them. So I'm going to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to create a variable. So inside this variable, I'm going to store in my active measure. So if I say active measure, what do I mean? So what measure is active from here right now on this particular chart we are looking at? So the measure that is active right now is actually profit. So we want to pick that particular profit. So we have a specific function that can help us to actually collect what has been actually selected from here. And that particular function is called selected value. And for the selected value, we need to actually understand what this is. And the name is actually active measure. And this is where we can actually find the name right here. So I'll just type active measure. I'll come over here. If I just do this, we'll type it. So we have the one that says order. So active measure order. So the order was what I've showed you previously before now that has 0, 1, 2, and 3. So you need to quickly understand that. So now I have this. I will create another measure again, so another variable. And this time around we have a variable, and this variable will be called measure results. So measure result will be equals. Okay. Now we have transaction, we have profit, we have revenue, we have units sold. So on my screenshot over here, I actually have all the numbers that are peculiar to every single measure name right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is to use the switch function like this. So switch through, comma. And over here, if I do underscore, I can actually bring in my active measure, which is where I have this particular measure stored in. And that is this particular one we have right here. So we're going to say if this particular active measure is equals to 0, then what we want to actually see is going to be transaction. So numbers of transaction. Okay. Then comma, underscore, we have this again. If it is equals to 1 now, what we want to see is going to be profit. So inside brackets, we do this, and we type profit. So if you're using pounds, you can use the pound symbol right here. So comma again. So if underscore active measure is equals to 2 now, then what we are expected to see is actually revenue. So here we go. Revenue. Then otherwise, we want to see units sold. So that is all we need to do. So right away, you might want to test it out and see if this is actually working. So what do? You can actually quickly do return. So under return now, we return our measure result and we push it in, and we check it out to see what it is that it's going to display. So let us quickly bring it over here. So here we have title. So look at it. We have profit. So if I update it over here to something like transaction right now, automatically it will change to transaction. It will change to units sold. So now we have actually gotten this created. So let's quickly go ahead and update it again with more codes to give us what we want exactly. We don't actually need these ones now yet. So we want to create another variable again here. So variable, and this variable is going to be called underscore or top bottom. So top bottom. So we want to see from the slide which number is being selected. That is what we are trying to see from the slide, which number has been selected. So when I put my equals right here now, so what I'm going to do right now is to do selected value again, top bottom slide, and we are looking for this. So top bottom slide drag. Here we go. So I would love to display this. I think this is not okay. Here is it. So we have this. We want to display the number here. So we are sure of what this one is going to return to us. We selected the top 3. This one will definitely return 3 to us. Okay. So if we go down again, we can create another variable. So in this variable, we call it underscore active top. Like, is it top or bottom that we have selected? We want to actually put that in. So I'll just type in here active top bottom. So equals selected value again. So we bring in our switch. So switch here, the order number. So let me show you what I'm doing. So over here, this particular one here has top and it has bottom. So 0 is associated with the top and 1 is associated with the bottom. You get it now. That is how this is actually set up. So we have actually bring in the numbers here that is associated with top and bottom, and we are about to use it. So let's do this. And our variable, on this variable here, we are going to do variable, and our variable will be underscore result, then which is equals. Okay, over here now under the result, we can do something like this to make sure our code looks clean. So let's do, hold your shift key, then enter your tab key to actually do this indentation like this. So it will make it looks very nice. So over here, we are going to write our next line of code. So under here right now, we are going to use the if condition to actually condition what we want. So we're going to say if active but top bottom here is equals to 0. That means what has been selected is actually, top, right? So what we are going to do right now, we want to say underscore top bottom. So here we go. So let's go back here. This top bottom here is number. So it will actually give us the number that is being selected. So once that is being given, we want to concatenate here a text with it. So this text, we have here a dash, and this dash is going to be 5, whatever number it is, will be 5 and dash and the text. So I'm going to say 5. Okay, like I have forgotten what this particular current active will show, what 0 would be. Is it top or bottom? So to check that now, I can actually let me just do this. Now I can see everything. I can highlight all of this particular part right here and do control then slash. So it will actually give me a multiple comment that will hit enter to commit it without me seeing an error. I can actually go back and check what it will return for me. So what are we going to check now? So we're going to check what? We're going to check this particular switch right here. So if I go over here now, I can check my switch before I use it. So over switch here. So you can see 0 is associated with top. 0 is associated with top. Then 1 is associated with bottom. That is what you need to get clear before you actually do it. So we can go back right now. And once we click back over here, so now we have to release this, highlight it again, control this slash, and here you have it. Your code is back to life. Okay, so now let's get started. So once we have understood that 0 is associated with top, so what we're going to do right now is to just say, okay, our top performing drugs by, now we need to call the measure name that is being selected. Don't forget what we have over here is called measure results. So whatever measure is being picked will actually reflect. So we want to actually call this particular, variable right now. So we just space, close, and percent again. So measure result. You get it now. So once you have done this, that is the first thing you need to do. Otherwise, you put a comma right here. So if the result is false, that is not this particular one right here, what do you actually want to have? So we are going to have under, let's go down. So over here, we're going to have underscore top bottom right here, which is the number from the slide. And we do concatenate this one here and dash. So over here, we're going to say under performing drugs by, so we do this underscore again. So we bring the result here and we go ahead and have this closed over here. Then if I hit my enter key, we should have this to be correct right now. Let us look at what the result will be. Okay, now if you look at it, somebody must have figured this out, like this is what you have done wrong. So what have I done wrong right now? So who can guess what I've done wrong? So what I've done wrong now is that I have actually completed my code, but I have not returned the last variable, which is result. So quickly we do return over here, and our return will be result. So if I hit my enter key, the error should be cleared and we should have whatever we have as the last result. Okay, let's quickly go ahead and look at this. So right here, I have top here selected, and we're seeing 3 top performing drug by unit sold. If I select bottom here, what should we be seeing? So we should be seeing 3 underperforming drugs by unit sold. If I select revenue, we should be seeing by revenue. If I come over here and change this one to 5, we should be seeing 5 underperforming drug by revenue. And if I go ahead and select top again, we should be seeing 5 top performing drug by revenue. This is actually making a whole lot of sense. This is exactly what you need to do to make sure the end user actually understand what this chart is actually talking about. So to tell your story, you need to support your story with some title, caption, and make it some kind of well understood. Hope this helps. So now that we have gotten this done, the next thing right now is to actually make sure we have a very nice design. So click on this particular one right here and go over to size and style and tone of the background. So you're going to have something like this. So click on this very one as well here, tone of the background from here, and you're going to have something like this. The next thing is for we to go over to this particular category label and turn it off from it. Then click over here and let us choose a color. So we're going to go with this particular color here. This is beautiful. But right now, this looks some kind of too huge. Let's use 9. Oh, sorry. I think 9 is some kind of too... Let's do 18. Okay, 18 looks good. So here we go. We have this like this. So I'm going to keep it right somewhere here. And let us look at how we can actually make this one to look beautiful. So for the first time, we have to go to the x-axis and turn off the title and the values we have under the x. Value turned off and the text being turned off. So we go back and close and open y-axis here. So for the y-axis, you want to actually make sure for this particular part, maximum width, we use 50%. And when we go back again, so we change this one to the bold version, which is this very one here. Then we're good to go. Then let's go over here and choose this color. This is what it is. Okay, now we have this. If I click on this now, we can actually go over to where we have bars. And for our bars, we can just go, and here we have the color for the bars we want to actually use. So what color do you want to use? So I think I will definitely choose a color that would match my current dashboard. You understand? So we don't just use any color. I always love to research my color. I can go to adobe.com to actually get colors from there. So I've shown you in some other videos I've actually created. So if I click over here right now to get my color mixed, I'm going to click on more colors. And over here, I'm going to type, I think it's ECCA7. So ECCA7. I think so. Yeah, let's add one more C. So here we go. This is the color we're going to use. So if you don't have this, I think you can use the RGB, red, green, and blue. So this is the color we want to use. The next thing now is for we to make sure we turn on the data label for it. So let's go down to data label. Is on, but it looks some kind of ugly. So open your data label and scroll the way down. The value. So we choose the bold version, like this one here. So we're going to change this one to black, the color to black. Let's do this. And the position of it should be changed from where it is right now to a different place. So the unit is actually giving us auto. We're going to change this to none. So when we change it to none, we're going to have this huge number. Don't worry, we can fix it. So let's go back up a little bit. The position should be inside end. So now the number looks some kind of weird. So let me show you what to do. Go over here. There was a measure we created called this particular dynamic top, and we have dynamic bottom here. So this measure should be actually formatted using this particular comma separator. Is what I'm going to use. Then we have to choose to format it with no decimal places. I'm going to take the decimal places off. Then we select the dynamic top as well and do the same thing to it. So now watch what we have here. So if I go comma, and over here, I'm going to put 0 in here where I have 2. So you can see it's changing what we have right here right now. So it has fixed these huge decimal numbers we have right here for us. This is cool. So now it's getting cleaner. So if I select profit right away, so it's going to give me by profit. So the reason why I'm not using, like if I select this revenue, the reason why I'm not using a dollar or pounds number symbol or formatting for it was because what if I select this is going to actually come with that. So for that, I'm going to use comma. Then when anything that has to do with currency is being selected, so I should the formatting in dollar in the brackets right here. That is what you can do, right? So we have gotten this. I can just go ahead and create a space here. So I have something to take off. Let's go over to this and let's go down, turn off the title. Okay, now this one here is going to come over here, but this is not what we're looking forward to seeing. If we bring it here, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Okay, now let's go over here and scroll down a little bit here. We're going to see the new slicer that we just have in Power BI. So click on the new slicer. And this is what you have. It doesn't make any damn sense, right? Let's format this. So we go to shape. So you can decide to use rounded rectangle like this, and it's not looking well, we can click on customize. So before we customize, okay, we can customize now. Just put this at 7. It's 7, and let's go to the bottom. The effect now is you to look at this particular place. The top left-hand corner is actually a bit rounded. Then we do the bottom right corner at 7 as well. So this is what it is, right? So once we are done with that, we can go back up. So let us go ahead and click on, I think it's layout. So for the layout now, so we are going to use this column here. So we choose how many columns we want to use. So let's go with 1 column. So 1 column gives you this here. And now you can play around with what you have here. So if you put it at 1, you have this. If you put it at the numbers of measures you have, we have almost 5 measures. I think 4 measures, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We have 4 measures. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we put it at 4 and we have everything showing up here. Then we can do adjustments like this, right? Okay, it's becoming clean. So let's go back up. For now, let's close this. So we are going to come over here and turn off the background we have for it. There is no background now. So the next thing again is for we to make sure we actually go to, I think it's going to be under layouts, under layout. So under layout here, under layout, sorry, I think it's not under layout. Let's click on button. So click on the button. So under button here, on the normal, this is the size. We have size as normal. So, but when we scroll a little bit up, here we have this state here. The state is at default. At default, there should be no border. We've turned off the border. So at default, the color we want to use should be something like this color here. This is the color I want to use when there is nothing selected. So we now click from default to on selected. So on selected, we want to check this particular number and get it for it. So we click over here, we select this number. So we want whatever is being selected to rhyme with the color here. That is what we want, right? So let's go up and go to call out value here. So for call out values now, we are going to make sure we select black color to match this. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we select more deep black color. This is okay. So let's select for the selected. We go over and get this color. Now here we go. So now on hover, what we want when we hover over here, so we can increase the size. So when we hover, we have something like this. So you might want to bold it. You have something, this effect will show up when you hover. So if you want to go down and do for the state, which is the button itself, so you're going to just go for on hover. You want something to happen. So on hover, you want to go and select something like this. So when you hover it, this is the color you see here. So this color should actually match the color of your background. Don't invent a color that is not on your dashboard currently. So now this color is good for when you hover. But when there is a selection, it should rhyme with this one. And this is exactly what you need to do. Okay, let's close everything. I think we are almost done with this. I'm going to close callouts. I'm going to close the button here. And now we have to turn off the title. And we have something like this. So we can bring this down a little bit. So now we have something like this. So we can just, so this looks okay. So now this one should actually be the same thing. So that was because I cleared the filter, but don't worry. So what if I select top? And here we go. If I clear, we have this. If I select, it's going to give us this. So what I'm going to do now is to go over here and scroll down, choose the slicer, new one. Once that has been done, click over on this one here. Let's go over to this particular format painter and give it the same format. Okay, now so we go back to, I think it's layout. So we scroll down. So we're gonna do something like this. Here we go. Okay, let's click on these bars. And when we click on the bars, we scroll down. We see where it says layout. We click on layout. So I think I've done something weird here. Okay, sorry for that. So we click on layout. When we click on layout, we have this opened. So you can actually play around with this. So it depends on the gap you want to have between them. So if you do this, you have something very thin. So for that, we just have to do, I think I'm going to be cool with 45 is okay for me. I want to have a lot of space on it. So once I have this, I can just bring this down a little bit here. Then this one would follow down here. Okay. Then we go over to pick this one. This one will be somewhere around here. Okay, let's work with this. On this one here, we're going to bring it down. And quickly we go over to over to the same format area and click on size and style, and we turn off the background for it. So once we have done that, the value is not more showing up because it's not well formatted. So we go back here, we go for the value, and we turn the value to white. Okay, now it's showing up. So I can actually increase the size of the value, and still I can change it to something very bold like this. And that is beautiful. So now let's do something like this. This should be here. All right. This is what we actually have right now. And we can actually interact with it. When we click on this here, it changes. We click on transaction. Now we have transaction. We can click on top 3. When we select 3 here, it actually is going to update this for us. And you can switch to the top or the bottom anytime you like. So we have something like this. And this is exactly what I wish you actually create as well. So let's go ahead and do this. And this one should be moved because it's close to the edge. Take time to do this particular kind of formatting and to make your dashboard look beautiful. So I hate white spaces. This is a white space. We want to fill it up. What do you think we can fill this white space we have right here, right now with? Let's think. Okay. Over here. So over here, we have 0.8% of revenue came from the list 3 or the list sold 3 drugs. If I change this one to top right now, it's going to do another thing. It says 23.3% of revenue is from the top 3 drugs. And when I select profit, it's actually reporting this based on profit. If I select transaction, it's reporting it based on transaction. If I go to quantity, it's reporting the same thing based on the quantity being selected, and it reflects right here. So it's a bit different from what we have done here. So we're going to do something to actually create something like this because it's going to actually add more context to our project. Let's see how we can achieve this. Okay, let us understand something here. If I go over here, I want to show you the table we are going to use. This has to do with our slide. This particular table is named Top Bottom Drug Slide. Top and Bottom Drug Slide. This is the table we are going to use. And aside that, we're going to use the table where we have our drugs stored in and a particular column from there. I'm talking about if we go to where we have the drug lookup right here. So we have a column that actually carry the list of our drugs that we have in our company. So now that you've understood what I want to get from here now, so we can actually come over here and create a new measure. Okay, with our new measure here, I'm going to call it percentage first of drugs or of top drugs. So for the percentage of top drugs, what we need to do first is to actually say, okay, now we need to get the top 5, the top 2, the top 3, the top 4, 6, 7, 10, down to whatever mark stop we want to retrieve. And this is what it is. We have done this before, but I think I should do it again. So I will actually go ahead and create a variable here. I'll call it underscore. So I will just name it top drug, right? So I'll name it top drug. So with this particular variable underscore top drug, what I will do now is to say is equals, and over here, I will start to write my function. So using the top n is a function. So the top n here, for the top n, we can provide a number like this as a value. But because we already have a slide that we can slide through and the number will dynamically change, I'm talking about this particular one. And here is the table that contains it. So what do? We actually bring in the name. So top bottom slide, which is this particular one right here. You get it? So I'm going to put a comma. So we have to remove filter from our drug table. So we use the all function right here, and we bring in drug name. So here we go, drug name here. I can go ahead and have this closed. Then the next thing, I'm going to put a comma over here, and let's go down for we to arrange it very well. We actually going to some kind of bring in a dynamic measure, because we want this particular top to calculate for not just a single measure. We want to calculate for quantity, for revenue, for profit, and for what? For transaction, right? So we bring in here dynamic. So dynamic measure. So this dynamic measure is something we have actually calculated in the first video in case you are missing it. So you just need to go and rewatch it again. And now we say comma over here, we are actually looking for descending because we want to actually get the highest values from them. So once we are done, we can go ahead and have this closed. And that is all you have to do right there. So let's go again and create another variable. So on this variable here, what we want to do is to actually create active drug, like which particular drug is active over here right now. We have 3 drugs active right here. So how do we check them? So we're going to do variable active drug. So I'm going to put an equals here. And now we need to find the active drug. So to do that now, we can actually do selected value. And for the selected value, we do drug name here. So we put a comma and we say if there is nothing selected, it should return all. So we're going to put all inside here. And we close. You get it now. So we need to create another variable. So the variable here, this variable, we do this. And this variable is going to be total top n revenue. So total top n value. Let me just use value because or total dynamic top n. Dynamic top n. This will look fine. Okay, so what do we do over here? Over here, we're going to use the SUMX function. So the question you might be having in mind right now is that why are we using SUMX? So SUMX is known to be an iterator function that actually scans a table. And I just want to shock you right now that this particular part here is actually a table right now. So we're going to feed it in here. So top drug will be filled into this particular SUMX. So with that, we want to filter it, like the expression we're going to give to it right now to retrieve what we want from it is actually going to be our dynamic measure. So dynamic measure. Once we have gotten this done, we go ahead and close. And here, this is what we have. So we're going to actually return this. So we'll return. Now, under return, we are going to say, okay, if underscore active drug is equals to all, then we want to return total, where is it? I think we have a measure like that. Okay, we want to return total dynamic top n. So we come over here now and say, give us total dynamic top N here. So now the false result will not be given. Instead, we're going to use under if, which means we are doing nested if. We can use switch function for this as well. So now we do under if here. So with this one now, we're going to say if underscore active drug using the in function. So we bring underscore top drugs, the top drug here. Now, what the in function is going to do right now is going to like check how many numbers do we have selected over here and check the names contained here over here. If it matches, it's going to return those particular names to you. But you're not trying to return any name right now. What you're trying to do is to actually create what? Create a value, right? So right away, I'm going to do comma. So with the comma right now, it's actually saying if the result is true, what we want to return a value. And that value should be what? Should be our dynamic measure. So dynamic measure again. So over here now, we step down, comma, and if it is false, we want to return nothing but blank, right? So now we can go ahead and have this closed. So you get it right now. So now we've closed for our second if, then for the first if should be closed over here. And the ones that is being closed over here, we can now do a comma. So, not a comma. Before we do anything, we have returned it. Let's hit the enter key and see what this will give to us. Okay, let's go and test it out and see. For now, it wouldn't be a percentage. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it. So I have value right here. This is value. So let's see what will happen when I change to profit. So this is the total profit. Units sold. This will give me total units sold. Okay, what we are looking forward to doing here is actually to create a percentage, right? So we are filtering based on what we have right here, top 3. If this should change to top 5 right now, check out the value we're going to see. So we have switched this from top 3 to top 5 or top 6. Let's see top 6. Now the value changes as well. So which means it's actually adding this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this on, and it will give you the aggregation over here. So now we're going to divide this by the total numbers of what? Of units sold here. Here is the units sold, is quantity. This is the quantity here. We have sold 19,000 quantity. And for the top 6 here is actually giving us 4.8, which is 4,000 plus. So we are dividing 4,000 plus by this particular 19,000 quantity to give us the percentage. So to do that, now we go ahead back here. So right now we don't need to create under measure for this. We go up here and use the divide function here. So divide function. I'm going to select all of this. Let me just do this so you can see it better. So I'm going to select all of this here. And my tab key will actually do this. It's called indentation. So we have to indent it so that our code could actually be clean, right? At the end of it, where we have the last comma, the last bracket, we put a comma right there. That is going to give us privilege to actually try to divide it by what? By the total dynamic. I think it's going to be total dynamic measure. Yes, by the total dynamic measure. So here we do dynamic measure. And we have to close it. And once I hit my enter key, let's see what it will give us. So I'm going to format this as a percentage for the time being, because we want to see a percentage over here. So in case you're having doubt, like, won't this particular dynamic measure return top 5, top 6? No, it will not. This will return the full value for any measure selected. So over here is being filtered by whatever top we selected from here. Remember, this particular slide is returning number. It could return 1, 2, 3, and the max is 20. And that will be used to determine how many, how many drugs do we want to show and the value we want to show. Let's go and take a look at what we have right here. So right away, I have 24%. So which means this particular top 6 is 24% of this value. So let's go to the bottom value here. And now you can now see the bottom value is showing 24%, right? It's showing 24%. And if I still go over here, this one, the same thing. So what crazy thing is going on right here, right now? That was because what we did was not actually the top, or was not the bottom, but the top. So we need to actually create something else for the bottom so that we can switch between them. That is exactly what we need to do. To create for the bottom, because this one is actually the top, all we have to do is to actually recycle through the code we have over here. So we are not going to write anything from the scratch. We just need to change two things. So I'm going to go ahead and Control A, Control C to copy. Once I've done that, I'm just going to go ahead and click on this. Now I have a new measure. I'll have this pasted in. So instead of me to use top over here, I would rather use the bottom. And we'll locate where we have this particular descending right in. So instead of us to have descending, we are just going to put here ascending, and that would actually give us the bottom value. So you get that right now. So this is exactly what we need to do to achieve this. In case you want to see the value that is peculiar to this, we can actually go ahead and push it inside the card. So here we have it. So this is not a percentage yet, it's a decimal number. So now we choose the percentage. So let us take a look at what we have done. So look at it. We have 9.54%. This is exactly what is attributed to the bottom. So if I select revenue right now, it will definitely change. And now we're having 2.83%. And it works as well with the filter we have over here, like the slide to select multiple tabs. Then we can actually do tab 4. And this is exactly what it is. Okay, the next thing we're going to do right now is for we to look at how we can actually get in our caption, which is really very important. So all of those here are not actually something we need to actually keep. So I'm going to get this one off from here. And as well, this one should be taken off as well. We don't need to keep it. So the next thing I'm going to do right away is just to right click and create a new measure. But before then, we don't have to write everything from the scratch. All we just need to do is to actually make sure we understand the tables that are going to be involved. All right. So let's quickly come over here. So over here now, this is actually our active measure, right? The active measures, we have a measure written to actually pull value from active measures. So we're going to use this particular table called active measure. And we're going to use this particular table. And again, we are going to use this table. So once you have understood that all those tables should be used, then let's see what we're going to do. So over here, what actually brought this one up, we are going to go over there and copy some parts. So this part should be copied. This very part here should be copied. We don't have to write it again from the scratch. So now we have a new measure. I'm going to paste in this one over here. So if I pasted it here, you would see that what I have here is error. I'm having this error because I did not have a title for it. So the title is going to be caption, and this caption is actually going to be for drug. So I'm doing this because I'm going to be creating for customers. So I put my equal sign and the error will be cleared away. Okay, what is next right now? The next thing we have to do next now is actually trying to look for the active top and bottom. So now we create a variable. So under this variable here, we are going to call the variable active top bottom, right? So equals. Okay, what are we storing inside here? Using the selected value now. So we're going to actually look for the switch here. So the switch is going to get, we're going to get the other column. Here we go. So let us look at the switch. This is the switch here. So we are switching between top and between bottom to see what is actually active. So if I talk about active top bottom, I'm actually talking about this here. Top is 0 and bottom is actually 1. This is exactly what we have pulled in right now. Okay, so let's see what is next. So next right now, we're going to create another variable. And in this variable, we're going to store in the top bottom. Then when I talk about top bottom, or we can actually say top bottom slide. So the top bottom slide we have right here right now is actually going to bring something from here. Let's do it from this slide, top bottom slide. So whenever we actually change the value we have right here, it's going to give us either top 1, 2, 3, and the maximum we have set for it is actually 20, up to 20. So we go over here. Now from here, so now we just do selected value, and we're going to do top bottom slide, and I close top bottom slide. Sorry, here we go. All right, so we have created all the variables we need to create. The next thing right now is to actually start to get things done the way it should be. So we do return. Under return here, what we're going to do under return is to actually use the if to check what is being selected. If I talk about checking what is being selected, I'm talking about checking what is being selected between top and the bottom we have right here. You get it? Okay, so now here we go. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to say if active, this is the button here. So underscore active, this active, underscore active top bottom here. If it is equal to 1, that means what is being selected is actually the bottom 1, so not the top. So what are we going to do to that? So we come over here and say if that is the case, we want to actually bring in our percentage of drag, which is what? Which is the bottom. So that is this particular one we created lastly. You get it right now. So it's a measure. We bring in this. So this is going to give us some kind of huge number with decimal. So let's see what that would be before we correct it. So over here, once we have done this, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to actually bring in here this particular concatenator to say off, and we close this. So it's just like now this is a percentage. This one helps us to switch between either top or bottom. And now we are in the bottom, right? So we're going to say, let's say, for example, 50% off. Now, what is the measure that is being selected from here? That is what is actually active. Now it's actually revenue because we chose revenue from here. And then we're going to use that. What are we going to use now to make that happen? Let's do under ampersand here. And the name of this particular one is actually measure results. So underscore measure result, right? So under ampersand again, then we are going to actually add the text. Come from lists sold, and over here we do this under ampersand again. Then we're gonna do now. So top bottom is what we're going to use. The top bottom returns number from the slide, right? This is it here, top bottom slide. So the value from top bottom slide is what we're going to actually get now. So we are going to use top bottom slide. So once we have done this, that is all we need to do for this particular part. So we do concatenate, and we do drags, and we'll close this. So if we put a comma, it's asking for what if the result is actually false. So for if the result is false, now we are actually going to actually bring in the top percentage. So the top drag percentage here. And once we have that brought in, what do? We are going to actually concatenate the same thing. So we're going to say off. So always put a space because you don't want your words to actually join together. So we bring in the measure result. Measure result, just like the previous one. We concatenate this. So we need to add some text. So it's from the top. So this top should have a dash here. And now we want to join here the number. So I will definitely do under ampersand again. So underscore. So this, sorry, we have to close this. So now on the percent here, underscore, we are going to actually select top bottom slide here. So once we have done that, we need to actually concatenate this. So drags. So this is exactly what we want to do. So I'll go ahead and do this. So if I hit my enter key, we should actually have everything correct. So let us go ahead and take a look at what we have done, if this really make a lot of sense. So I don't want to create this again over and over. I'm just going to go ahead and Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to paste it. And I'm going to drag this one right in here, then take off this one, and let's go with our caption. And if we look at our caption now, it is a lot. Let's bring it down. So it's a lot. Look at the percentage we have. It has a lot of decimal places. So what do we do to actually fix this right now? So go back to it and actually let's fix it. So you have to identify where the percentage is actually is. So the percentage is actually a measure sitting outside that we actually brought in here. So we use the format function. So with the format function here, we go at the front of this here, put a comma here. So the comma we have here right now, actually, now the first thing when we brought in the format is asking us for value, and our value is actually this particular part right here. So let's go. So our value now is this particular part here. So when we put a comma here, so it's asking us for the format, so which means how do we want to format it? So inside a double quotes, we want to format as a percentage, and this percentage should not have a decimal place. So we just do 0%. And we close this and we close the bracket for format. So the same thing we have done right here, right now, is what we're going to do to this particular one. So we type in format here. So with the format, we go at the front of this particular measure here and put it in a comma. So it's asking us for how do we want to format it. Inside double quotes, 0%, close this and close the bracket. If I hit my enter, we should have a percentage that is not going to be in decimal places. This is all we need to do. So let's check it. Can you see? We now have 2%. So if you want to have decimal places, if that is what you like, so we go back and edit. So over here, let's scroll. So instead of you to do just 0, we do 0.0. And over here, you do 0.0. So if I hit my enter, I should have just one decimal place. So if I want to have two decimal places, I can do 2 zeros over here. So let's check it out. So we now have 1.6, right? So if I select the top over here now, so I'm going to have 22.1. And this is exactly what we need to have. So now we have actually made justification to it. So it is time for we to take this and do this. Let's get this one closed. So make sure it contains this particular part here. So irrespective of what is being selected from here, so it's going to change, and this is going to make a lot of sense. So let us just shift this one a little bit. So here we go. So we can now play around with this one. And this is it. So now if I select transaction, so it's giving me things about transaction. It's actually telling me 16.3% of transaction is from the top of 4 drugs. And if we select the bottom, so it's going to actually change, and it's giving me 5.9% of transaction. Now of transaction from, this is actually wrong English. So let's go ahead and change it. So we quickly go back here. So we're on that button. So of transaction, so we put is. So here is going to give 10% of transaction is, so that is 5% is of no, of transaction. Our is going to come over here, give a space. So that is what we need to do. So let's see if that fixes what we want. So we are under bottom. What did I do it? Okay. So 5.9% of transaction. Sorry, we did it at the wrong part. So we have to go back. So the is should come here, just like this very one here. So now we should have gotten it fixed already. So if you look at it, it's correct. It's just that it's mixed up with this. So you have to be very careful when doing that. So we go back right now for the last time. We shouldn't come back here again. So there should be space before, there should be space after the open double quotes here. And if I hit my enter key right now, we have it completely corrected. So that is exactly what you need to do. You see that? Correct. So the next thing we're going to do right now is that we need to actually do the same thing for customer. We want to see our top customers. And the question you're going to be asking is like, are we going to do the same thing from the scratch? And the answer is no, we are not. So all we just have to do is to copy and paste and just make a little change, and we have everything straight up going well. Before we focus on this particular customer part, let us look at what is going on right here. So right here, we have selected top, profit, and 3, which is top 3 profit is what we are displaying here. So the percentage attributed to the top 3 profit now is actually this particular value. So the percentage and the value version is this. Here's the percentage of this very top 3 drugs, and here's the value attributed to it. So right here, we are looking at revenue or at profit. We can choose revenue, and it will actually switch to revenue, and the value here changes to revenue. So 885,948 out of 3.7 million of revenue is what is attributed to this. And we can see we match the color with this, just for people to understand exactly what is going on. So we use color to communicate something right here. So how do we create this? It's very simple. We already have the measures in place. All we just need to do is to create some little measures and actually get this done. Let's do it. So we're right here. The very first thing we're going to do is, like, you should understand that we have this 5.9 as a measure sitting somewhere that actually create this percentage. So, and the percentage is this. So we're going to take this one for top. So if I click on this particular percentage right here, we have this. So all we have to do right now is to actually get this particular part of it. I think let's make it smaller. Okay. So we're going to take this particular part here. Please be very careful when doing this. Exclude the divide and its bracket. Exclude this comma and this particular dynamic measure and the closed bracket of our divide here. So we copy this. It has been copied. This is actually the top. So I'm going to click over here. So now we have a new measure. I paste this in. So it's giving me error because there is no name for the measure. So top drugs values. Okay, so equals. This is all we need to do. So I can do Control A, Control C to copy again, and I'll hit my enter. This has been created very importantly. So we actually paste in another one. So let's see what this one will do. Here I'm going to paste it in. I will do bottom, and over here I'm going to do here ascending instead of descending. That is all I need to change. And maybe you, instead of we having top N here, is optional. You can change it, but it doesn't really stop the value. I'm going to actually go ahead with this one here. Okay, we have those two measures in place. What I would love to do is to actually bring my value forward here. So for easy catch up of this, I'm going to click on this one. So value here and this one here, I'll get the values off from here. So I'll put in values. Then there we go. All right, so we have this. All we need is to actually look at the result we have from both of them. So I'm going to get them inside a card. Get this one as well inside a card. So you can see, this is what we have. So this value now is attributed to the bottom. This value is attributed to the top. Right? Then we can go over here and use this because it's a value, not a percentage any longer. So we can format it this way. So we can format it this way. Now to take a look at it and see what it is that we have. So let us look at what we have here. This is 74. This is $205. So because we are looking at the bottom. So if we check the top right now, it should give us something different. So more higher than what we have on the bottom part is what we're going to have. So right now, let's see, check over here on the profit. So huge number is actually attributed to the profit here. So let's go to the bottom here and see if this will reflect it. Oh, sorry, this shouldn't reflect it. I'm sorry for that because the bottom and the top is being shown here. So we don't expect the switch to come from here. So for we to have this huge number, there is no problem because we're not even going to use this, right? So, but we can quickly go over here and turn off the auto to 0 and hit our enter key. Then click over the values, top, drugs, and do the same thing to it. So 0, hit the enter key, and this is all you have to do. And it will definitely have everything here corrected. So here we go, something like this. So right away, I'm going to just keep this one here. So to get the use of this right now, we want to join them together so that we can control them with this here. Now it's not being controlled by this, but it's being controlled by what we have selected from here. And it can be controlled by selecting the top 5 from here. It will actually affect what we see as value here. So now we want to combine this particular two together, which is very, very easy to do. So how do we do that? So let's just take a look at what we can actually do. All right, to get that done now, let's just insert a new measure. So first of all, is for we to understand what is this particular one here. This one here has to do with switch drug top bottom. So top and bottom, that is the name. So now we do this. Caption now, should it be caption value? Yeah, caption value we do this for drugs. So we put equals here and quickly we create a variable, and this variable is going to store in the active top bottom here, so which is equals. So here I'm going to do selected value. So with the selected value right now, we do switch. I'm going to pick the one that has the order number on it. So if you have not forgotten, I said we actually have 0 for top and 1 for bottom, right? So under return here, I'm going to return it now. So on that return, I'm going to actually use the if condition to actually ask if this particular active button here is equal to 0. Then what we want to see is actually going to be value top drugs. Otherwise, give me this value bottom drugs. That is all we need to have. So we go ahead and close this if, and once we hit our enter key, we have gotten that created right away. Okay, we need to physically look at what we have done. Let us bring it over here. So here we go. Get this into a card. So this is what we have right now. So it's actually returning something from here for us because this bottom has been selected. Once we choose this now, we should see this value reflect. And this is exactly what it is. So can you see that now? Beautiful. So we have gotten this done. It is time for we to actually create something very much more amazing than what we have been doing. So right now, we do not need any measure to be written to have it done. So what you have to do is to go to your text box here. So we've picked the text box. Inside this particular text box, I am going to do this. Go to value and click on value. So try to remember what name you gave that last measure we created, which is caption value, right? So I'm going to do caption value. Is it values or value? Caption value. And I did this. I put drugs here. So we should see the reflection of this if it is right. So it's not coming up. Just give it some time. So now we have it. Can you see it? So we just click on OK. And this is it here. We actually click on OK right here. So if you look at it here, it's not properly formatted. So what we need to do is to go ahead and actually format this. Then it will reflect on this one. So click over here. So we're only going to format it using this particular comma separator and take off the extra decimal places we might have on it. So 0 and hit my enter key. So that should actually update what we have here quickly. So it does. So for now, we have this. And the next we're going to have now is to actually have a text on it. So I'm going to say out of. So out of. The next I'm going to do right now, give a space and come over to value again. Under value, we actually bring in, I think it's going to be dynamic measure. I don't know what is the name of that measure again. The measure name should actually be, I think, let me just think. I don't want to take off this. Okay, let us search for, okay, yeah, it's dynamic measure. I'll bring in this dynamic measure. What is this dynamic measure? Let me save and show you what it is. This dynamic measure is actually the measure that is coming from here directly without a filter already affecting it. So I'm going to look for my dynamic measure here and show you. So dynamic measure is this particular one. Can you see? We both created this one. Why are we having an error with this dynamic measure here? Let's take it off. So click back on it. So it's not an error. So now if you look at it, this dynamic measure uses switch to actually get things right here. Whatever has been selected from here will reflect here. That is what we've done. So there is no filter on this. It's giving us reporting the whole total transaction, profit, revenue, and quantity. That is what it does, right? So after we have gotten this, the next thing I'm going to do right away, I'll actually come over here and put comma, and I'll say off. You understand? So this particular off right now, we want to actually look at what is being selected from here. So we need to click on this to know the name of this particular measure that actually produced this. So let me click on my dynamic measure and quickly format it with comma separator for the first time before we go over to what we want to do. So put 0 over here and hit your enter key. Okay, once we have done that, let us clear this particular one from here. So over here, we have this particular active measure here. So this active measure is this particular one. So we need to get the name of the active measure shown, right? So the name of the active measure is called active measure. So let's see if we can get this active measure in here. So we're going to type in here by coming over here. We just bring in active measure. So here we go. So active measure is revenue. So we click on OK. So can you see it now? If I change to profit, automatically it will change to profit. That is what we need to do. So once we have done this now, we need to actually give it number or size. Let's do with 14 is okay. So 14 looks good. So once we have done that, we come over here, place the cursor here, and now hold your shift key down and your arrow to the left. So it will highlight this one for you. So let us go ahead and match it with this particular color we have here. So we can choose this color that looks brighter than even this one. Then once we have done that, we can actually crank it up a little bit. We can decide to use 16. That is good. So don't worry if it's not giving something good. So shift key and highlight this particular part. Then over here, we are going to use the same 16. The same 16. Oh, okay. We flopped something. We just have to do Ctrl A and make sure everything is on this particular color first before we change the color. So right now, we can't see it better. So what we can do is to go over to the format area, go over to size and style, and let's go ahead and turn off this particular background here. So we can do this. So let's stretch it and let's come here. Ctrl A, we put it in the middle. So now we select this area like this. So we actually bold it and we select the color we want to use. Let's go with this color that matches this color. So on this one, all we just do is just to actually go ahead and bold it alone. So don't bother about doing any other thing. So we can bring it over here. So this is exactly what it is that we have done in the previous one. So you can see it now. So what you can do is just to make sure you take this up a little bit for it. Then you have a space between it. So whenever we make a change to this, so it actually changes this value. We select revenue, revenue is selected, and this is actually going to be affected. This is all we need to do. We have created the complete version of what you need. So we want to duplicate this and have it here. And we do this in few minutes without we going through all we have went through before we got this created. How about that? So if you're still watching to this end, you are very important to me. Please, I beg of you, like the video. Make sure you leave a comment. Even if you don't have anything to say, just say thank you. And if you have not hit the subscribe button, I think that should be the next thing you should do. Thanks for watching. Let's proceed. To recreate this particular part for our customers is very simple and easy. The very first thing you have to do is to click on this one and do Ctrl C, then Ctrl V to paste it. Then you bring this one in here. That is the very first thing you have to do. So once you have done this, let us look at what particular measure and dimension that actually make us to have something like this. So clicking over here right now, you can see we have the drug name, right? Then we have switch drug top bottom right here. So we want to take a look at what is contained inside this measure. So we're going to look for switch drug. So over here, we'll type in switch drug top bottom over here. Now, this is what you have. So this is the most important place. This very part here is very crucial. So this part calculates the drug dynamic top, and this one calculates their drug dynamic bottom. So we need to do some calculation like this. So we are going to search for this. We don't have to do it from the scratch. Copy this very one here and bring it over here. Wipe off this. So we're going to paste it over here. And here we go. This is the measure. So now that we have found the measure, the next thing we're going to do is to actually duplicate this particular measure by doing Ctrl A, Ctrl C to copy. Let us clear off this particular one here. we're going to actually create our measure inside here. So I'll right click and say new measure. All we have to do is just to make a little change. That is all. So it's coming up. Now a new measure is here. Okay. So we paste in this very one. All we have to change is this particular part here. So we put this place customer. Then when we have done that, if we look at this particular part of the code, so this very line has the name of the column we're trying to actually use to create our top N or bottom N. So we're going to remove this and we'll bring in customer full name into there. Then we look at this particular part again. We're going to actually do the same thing to this very one, make a change of this. So customer full name right there. So is there any other place we need to change? So there is no other place. So and that's what you're going to do so that if someone else comes to the back end and wants to look at your code, so your code should actually, explain what it is without trying to the person will be like, what the heck is going on here? Now we're talking about drugs and we're showing up customers, and this particular table is going to show up customers. So they'll be mixed up somewhere. So just highlight one of this. You can see it's highlighting this one, who shows that it's the same thing. I'll do my Control-Shift-L. Both of them are some kind of selected now. I'll do underscore top what? Top customer. Right? That is done. Then over here we have active drug. Control-Shift-L underscore active customer. Okay, so we are good to go. All we have to do after this is just to Control-C, Control-A, Control-C to copy. Then make sure you hit the Enter key. And it's very paramount you format this as this particular comma separator right here. So I'm going to format this. But once I have it formatted, I'm going to actually use 0 over here so that I shouldn't have any extra decimal. So 0 here, hit my Enter key. All right, we have done this for the top. Let us do the same thing for the bottom. We just go ahead and create a new measure. Remember, I have copied this into my clipboard. So I pasted this one here. The only thing I'm going to change now is to change the top here from top to bottom. And we come over here, we change this particular one from descending to ascending, and we hit our Enter key. That is all we need to do. So once this is done, don't forget to do this comma separator as number formatting. And as well over here, we need to remove the extra decimal places we would have on it. So hit the Enter key. So we are done with the first step. So now, what is next? We need to switch between here and here. So we are not going to use this for our customers. You get it? So we want to create a different one for the customers. To do that now, what we need to do is to go over to the modeling here, and we click over new parameter, and we go over to the field parameter. All right, we are here. So over here, we're going to do our switch. The switch here is going to be switch customer top slash bottom here, right? Then we select this particular part. We open up where we have our measures writing. So those are the two measures we just created right now. So the next thing is for me to double click on the measures, and over here, I'll take off this particular part. Then we'll come over to this one. We just have to make it short. It's optional. You can leave it if that is what you want, but to actually manage our space, we need to create something very short. So we have done this. What next do? We click on create. Okay, now we have this particular slicer added here. So right now, if I actually click on this, there is nothing that is going to happen because we have not yet used it, right? So what do we need to do? We have to use it right away. So click over here now, and over here, you are going to click here, switch, and we click on this particular one we just created newly. Here is it, and we bring this one in. So it looks blank. I guess you might just understand what is going on right now. It is blank because what we have in the measures is not what we have here. So we have to actually replace drug name to customer full name. So we'll locate our customer table. So here we go, customer table, and we pick up the full name from here, and now it's showing up. Can you see that? So it's showing up based on top, and if I select the bottom part right here, so it's going to update the chart automatically for me. Can you see it now? This is exactly what we are talking about. So it works 100%. Okay, let's talk about the formatting. Do we have to do the formatting from the scratch again? I guess no. What we need to do is to go over here. Let us go ahead and select the new version of our slicer. So we have just done that. I'm going to have something weird as this. So I'm going to go over here and select this and go over to this particular format painter. And here we go. Then we have the same thing. So I want to keep the same size with this one. So select it and go over to here and click on this particular size and style. You are going to see the dimension. So we have 53 by what? By 172. So we click on this one. So we do the same thing. We do 53 by 172. This is what we are going to have. So here we go. The next thing now is to make sure we bring this to this level right here. And this is what you are expected to do. Okay, now that we have done this, let us look at what should be the next thing. Remember, this color here matches this color, but unfortunately, we are not going to use this very color we have right here, right now. So we need to change the color that we have. So what do we do? So we have to make sure we mix a different color for this. So let's see what color we are going to use. So let us click on this one and go over to bars, scroll down over here, click over here, then click here. And now we need to do F3B for D6, D6 or D7. Okay, let's do F3 B for DC. Okay, so here we go. We have this kind of color right here. So this is the color we want to use. The same color we have used here now is what we're going to use to match the color of what is being selected. So click on this one and make sure you go down to buttons. Scroll down, take it off from default to selected, and go over to the fill color here and choose the color, this very color. So every single time we make a selection, it will match to this one, which means this is what is being selected. So good to go. The next thing is for me to just get this one duplicated, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Then we'll bring this one over here. So when we have this one over here, this is not actually rhyming with what is here. So we need to actually make sure we select it and we actually change what we have inside the measure. So I told you we are not going to create anything from the scratch. All we have to do is just to make sure we just change things a little bit. Okay, now we have this. The next thing I'm going to do now is to go over here and click over here, then click over the title here, and let's copy everything away from here. So once we have copied, we can go ahead and close it, then click over here. This is where we are having our measures right in. Then we click on new measure. The new measure is up. We have to paste this one in. Once we have it pasted, let's scroll to the top level here. Instead of us having drugs, we can have customers. So now for this particular part is going to be 100% the same, right? So we need to have the top bottom right here. It's going to be the same thing as well. Let's see. Yeah, active measure should be the same thing. And this place right now that is showing for drug, we have to change this particular part for top bottom, instead of, I think, top bottom drug slide. Okay, yeah, this one should be the same thing as well. It will be for the slide. It's not bad. So it's for the slide. We're not going to create new one, so we can leave this one right here the way it is. Then the next thing we're going to change now, let's see under active top here. So if you look at it now, this is where the switch actually starts. So switching between the top and the bottom. So let me take you there. Oh no. Okay, we're talking about this very button here and this one here when we switch between them. So the one that is active on the measure right now is this particular one. So we have to actually create a new one. So to do that now, what we can do is to actually say, okay, now over here, we're going to take off this one. We want to bring the one that has customer in it and the one with the order number. So when I just type in switch like this, I have lots of switch. Let us look at the switch in full mode. So now if I go down, this one has switch that has the drugs. So I will go down here. Okay, this is the drugs one. So I'm going to go here. This one that I have highlighted right now is the one that has to do with the customer, which is the current one we created. So tab key to bring it in. So this is exactly what it is. We have just gotten that one changed. So the next thing now is this. Over here where we have drugs, I'm going to put in here customer. So where I have drug here, I'm going to put customer. So what else again? Let's see. So let's go ahead and commit this now. Hit my enter key. Our measure is ready. Okay, if I have this, the next thing I'm going to do now is to click over here and go over here and drop this, then click over here and bring this in. So let us go and bring this down. So we can match this here like this. Okay, just take your time. So you can now see this one is actually giving us 5 underperforming drug by revenue. So if I select top, this one is giving us 5 underperforming customer by. So now it's deselected. This is the issue you're going to have when you allow people to deselect it. It's going to give them something like an error. What do we do to avoid this? Because now nothing is being selected and we're having something like this. So what you need to do right now is this. I'm going to do this particular format here. Then I'll go to where it says slider settings. I'll actually click on this particular single selection. I will just click on force selection. When I say force selection, it's going to forcefully select one for us. I'll do the same thing to this one because right now I can click on this particular one now and it has deselected everything from here. So it's going to give us some kind of weird something here. So I'll just go on the force selection. So it's going to forcefully select one. You cannot deselect it. One must be actively selected, right? So you can do the same thing to this particular one right here. Forcefully select one like this. So there must be single selection between them. So this is what you can do. So right now, if I switch to top, I have top. So now let's see something here. There is some kind of weird thing that is going on right now. Then how to fix it? I'm selecting top is giving me 5 underperforming customer by revenue. If I select my bottom right now, it will give me 5 top performing, customer by revenue. So to fix it, click on your measure on your listing and go to your measure. Over here in your measure environment here, so click on this and it's just one click. So let's come over here where we have the if it is equals to 0, we go for 1. So I will show you what is going on there. So 1 is actually attributed to bottom here because we created 2 different things. So let's go over to here and let me show you what is going on there. So this is for customer. So under customer, if you look at 0, 0 is attributed to bottom. Under this particular one, if you look at 0, 0 is attributed to top. So because we copy the code and we actually make a little change, if we are not careful enough, there will be some kind of weird, display of our value, so to the end user. So now we have top is giving us 5 underperforming customer by whatever we select. So I'm selecting profit for now. It's going to change to profit. And if I select for top, it's going to give me for top 5. That is exactly what it is. So we have actually gotten this created. So we have 2 more to be created. So this one and this one, which will be very, very simple to create. So let's see how to do that. So for the next one to get started, we just have to go ahead and copy this one, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to paste it down. Then we shift it and keep it somewhere around here right now. So once we have it right here, that doesn't mean this is what we're going to use 100%. So quickly, let us take a look at the code. On this particular DAX we have right here, everything from here, so everything from here would almost be the same thing. We just need to make a change of this particular part and this very part. So for every other thing, it will be the same thing. But before we can be able to replicate what we have over here right now, we need to create 2 measures. And that 2 measures, we are not doing it from the scratch. Okay, let me show you how to get it done. First of all, we go to this particular percentage of the bottom right here. We actually go ahead and Ctrl+A, Ctrl+C to copy, and we create a new measure. Make sure you click outside of it, new measure here. So let us go ahead and paste what we have actually copied inside here. So what do? We just change this one from drug to customer. So now we come over here. We're looking at drug name. So we take off this and we replace it with what? With customer full name over here. So we locate where we have under one again. This is actually drug name. So we'll replace this with customer full name like this. So once we have done that, let us look at where we could have something that has to do with drug again and take it off. So this one that says top drug, if I click on it, I want to see where we have those those variables being used. Ctrl+Shift+L, we just do underscore top customer. That is it. So active drug here, we have used it multiple times. Ctrl+Shift+L. So we do underscore active customer, right? So for every other thing, I think we are set and we are good to go. We just go ahead and hit enter key. So we have created a new version of this, right? So the next thing we want to do right now is to make sure we go Ctrl+A, Ctrl+C to copy this. So once we have just gotten this copied, the next thing we have to do right now is to create a new measure. Have it pasted in and we do this is okay. We change this one to top. Then from top, what else do we need to do? We just change this one to descending. That is all. You hit the enter key. Okay, we have just gotten all of this created. The next thing we have to do right now is to click on this one to identify where it is. So here we go. We have this right here and we just go ahead and do Ctrl+A, Ctrl+C to copy it and we hit it, right click outside of it and new measure. So let's go ahead and paste this in. So we have this here. Let's go up and this is caption for drugs. We do customer. Okay, I told you this particular place will remain the same thing. We don't need to touch it. On this particular part here, instead of us to switch top bottom for drugs, so we use the switch for customer. Here is it. So you can see this one has customer on it. Then, so instead of us to look at 1, I think we are looking at 0 over here. Then what else again? Look. So where we have drug, we're going to change that to customer. Customer. Right. So active measure. active top button, slide, then everything should look okay by now. Let us go ahead and hit our enter key. This time around, we have gotten this created. So we have caption. So we're going to go ahead and take off the one we have over here and replace it with the newest one we have just created. So let us click over here and remove this one, and we go for the new caption. So here we go. So let's change this one. So it seems we are reporting the same exact thing. I'm having doubt on what the heck is going on. Somewhere. Okay, let's check for what could be happening. Oh no, we have messed up big time. So now the percentages we've created, we have not actually brought them in here. So for that, we're just going to come over here now and take off this one. We look for percentage that has to do with the bottom customers, and we bring it in here. Then we take off this particular part here. Then we look for the percentage that has to do with top customers. So percentage for top customers, bring it in here. Then we'll go ahead and hit enter. So with this now, we have fixed everything 100%. So let us take a look at what we have done again. Nicely, I think so. So this is 29.7%. So this one is giving us 29.2%. Then if we go to the bottom part right here, this one should be giving us different from what this one is going to give us. So we'll go select both of them, bottom. So this one is reporting 0.6, while this one is giving us 4.7. So which means that everything we have done is absolutely 100% correct. So what about this? So quickly, let us look at what we have done right here. We did not create anything from the scratch. All we have done is just to actually copy. All right. The next DAX we are going to write right now has to do with this, just this, and it's something that we just have to copy and paste. So for the very first time, I'm going to do this, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to paste it in, and shift this one right here, which means we are still going to maintain the same formatting. Then if I click over here, it will give me, cancel it. So this one should give me the measure we have used, but unfortunately we could not see it. Let's just take it up right here and now click over here. Oh no, it couldn't give me that measure I've used. So no problem. I know which measure we have used for it. I'm just going to go ahead and move it back to where it should be. So come back to your base over here. Okay, now if we go over to this particular part, we have what to call caption value. This caption value is for drugs. So this is what we have used previously before now. So we are going to actually go ahead and do Ctrl+A, Ctrl+C to copy. Then we hit this particular place and go ahead and create a new measure. Our new measure is ready. I paste this one right in here. Then I change this one from drug to what? To customer. That is nice. The next thing I'm going to do right now, instead of me to be switching this particular one right here, I'm going to switch for drugs. So I'll do take off. So switch, or for customers rather, I'll switch for this, customers instead of drugs. And for this particular one here, oh no, sorry, I messed up big time. But no problem, we have gotten this created. So we're going to come back here and fix things right here because we have to create value for top drugs and value for bottom drugs, or for customers rather. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter. Let us just know that we have this measure already created, but not yet finished. So we come over here. So we do this. Just go ahead and select from variable here down to this particular one. What are we excluding? We are excluding the divide and its open bracket, and this particular comma with this particular measure right here with its closed bracket. So we just go ahead and copy this one alone. Then we go ahead and create a new measure. So with this new measure, I'm going to have to create over here. Let's do, I think caption. Why was the name? I think it should be caption, something like that. Caption value. Caption value output customer equals. So we paste this in here. This is all we need to do. Don't touch it. Don't do anything. Yeah, this one, was it for drugs? Oh, if this one were for drugs, let's see. This is for customers. So just go ahead and hit the enter key. So we have finished work here. Caption value. There was this name existing before. So this one was named caption value drugs. So, yeah. No. This should be some kind of a value bottom drug. So this should be value bottom customer. We hit the enter key. Now we have gotten this created. So we're just going to go ahead and copy the same thing. This is for the bottom, right? So Ctrl A, Ctrl C, and we create a new version of it here. So we go over here and on this one, we do top. Right? That is all we need to do. We hit the enter key. Then we can now go over to our caption value here. And this one is giving us weird distance. What the heck is going on this one? Switch. Okay. Then on this one right now, what we are going to do is to take off from here. So this values here, we're going to go for value. This has to do with the top. Then this one will take it off. Has to do with the bottom for customers. And we are doing 1 over here, not 0, because this is not for the for the drugs. So here we go. I'm going to hit my enter key right here. So we have just gotten this created. So it will create the kind of switch we are looking forward to seeing. Okay, so we are supposed to click over here now, and over here, what can we do to get it? We should have just this one edited. Let me take it up and see if I could get it from somewhere around here. So I'm going to click on this particular part. Yeah, here we go. So now what I'll do now, I'll take off this particular part here. I'll put my customer here. We select this one and we update it. So it has been updated automatically for us. So what we need to do now is just to go for the customers. We go over to this very one here and we format it to comma separator and we take off the extra decimal places we might have in there. So over here, we put 0 and we hit the enter key. So nicely done. So I think our work is very well done right now. So all I just need to do is just to some kind of shift this up a little bit. So hold my control key to select both of them. So go over to format and go to align and align to the top, and we have equal alignment right here. So if you look at it right now, this is looking very much beautiful, just like the previous one we have seen. Let's just go ahead and take a look at what we have over here and compare both of them and see what it is that we have. So this is exactly what it is right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this particular part. We don't have to do it from the scratch. So we can copy this very part right here and take it up to this particular one. So I'll paste it over here. Then I have to take off this very one from here for the time being. So we have to shift this to this side a bit. And this is what we have. So next right now is to make sure this slicer here is actually hidden and we can reveal it anytime we want it. This is exactly what you should actually understand how to create. So nothing complicated. All it needs is actually your time to sit down and actually learn this to heart, comprehend exactly whatever we have right here, and you replicate it on your own personal data. So if you have watched to this level, please do a favor, a very big favor indeed. Try as much as you could to hit the subscribe button because it's very important. And if you have been a subscriber before now, you just need to do one other favor. The like button is actually your friend, and leave a comment if that is what you want. Over here, I want to show two slicers. So we have one slicer already in here. So I would want to bring on that slicer. Before I bring that slicer, let us go to insert. And from insert, we can go to this particular button here. And we bring in this particular blank button into here. So once we have this here, we can actually place it around here. I can just make sure this is covering everything that has to do with this particular part. Okay. So we just move it up to cover everything here, right? So shift it down a little bit. So now you can see if I step up from it, you can see we have a border on it. We don't want to keep the border. Let's go over to format area here. So we make sure we have this clicked on, and we quickly come over to the button style, and we scroll all the way down. So we now see where it says border. We turn up the border, and if we go right now, so there is no border. Nobody can tell that something is sitting right here. So click back right on it. And let's go ahead and put it at default. So once it's at default, we scroll down, we see where it says text. So we actually click on the text, and we now type in here, open. So open what? Open filter. So we type open filter. So we type in here, open filter. So with this open filter right now, this is what we are going to actually have here as a text. So let us quickly convert this to a color like this. So here we go. So I want to have something like this. I just have to do this and bring this out a little bit. So we have something like this. So we have to make sure we just increase the size so that it will be very visible to the end users to know that something is actually there. So now we want to go on hover. What would happen when somebody hovers over this? So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the default here. Let's change the color of the default to look a bit calm than this one. Let's go with this. Okay, I think this one will be cool for me, right? So I will put it on this. That is nice. So now when somebody hovers over it, over the button now, on hover, I want to have a different effect. So I want to have a bright color, so white. So let's hover, and you can see this is what we have right now. Beautiful, right? So on hover, let's try to see if this particular one will look okay. Now you can see it's to be bold and to be very bright. This is exactly what you should do. So once we have done that, copy and paste it down. On this pasted one, go ahead to this particular part and make sure it's not more on hover. It's actually going to be on default. On default right now, we'll reveal back the text for you here. And over here, you just type in close. That is all you need to type in. So just close. So we have closed right there. I'm going to keep this one over here for the time being. Okay. So when I hover over both of them, you can see the effect I have. So once I have done this, let's go over to shape here. And under shape, I'm going to click on this particular kind of shape. I have the shape over here. So I'll keep the shape here, and I will just extend the shape to be right here. So not to cover everywhere. So we'll just shift it up. Now I have my shape to look like this. Okay. This shape is here. We are looking forward to have a color that is close to what we have right now here. So go over here, and the shape is cool. We don't need border for it, and the fill should be changed. Let's change the fill color to something else. So we are going to go with something that has to do with this. Oh, no, this is not really cool. So I'm going to go for more colors right here. So I'll select a dark version. So I want something very reasonable. Okay, what about something like this? This looks cool and it blends with my colors, right? So you can play around with the colors you have and you would see which one would be actually best for you. Okay, what next can we do? The next thing I'm going to do right now is to actually say, okay, for this particular one right here, I will go over to this and come here and copy the color code in case we don't find it. So I want to come over here now and drag this into this particular part here. So once we have it there, we go ahead to this particular part and we turn off the background away from it. We don't want any background. So the background is gone. So we have something like this. Let's go to the value area. If I step off, then it has gone behind this one. So let us go to format. From the format, you are going to say send to bring to front. No. Then we go to send to back. So when we say send to back, it will reveal this very one. But unfortunately, this particular one is coming up. So we are going to click on this one now and do send to back as well. So do this send to back, click on this one. So that is gone to the back, and over here, this is what we have. So click over here right now and go over to this header. We turn it off. Then we come over to slicer settings right here. So for the slider settings, we are going to go to the value. Under the value, we want to change the color of our value. We change it to white, like this one here. So we can actually increase the font, the size of it. So I think this is cool. So let's go to the background here. For the background, we want to change the background color. Then the background should match this particular color we have right here. So let's go ahead and have it opened. When we open it right now, this is what we see right here. And we can actually scroll through to get to the rest of the months, right? Okay, so I can just do something like this. Ctrl C, then Ctrl V to paste it down. And I'll bring this over here like this. So this one is going to carry my year. So click over here and just go over to this particular part. Then choose the year instead of the month. Okay, completed 100%. So what we need to do now is to make sure they are both aligned properly the way it should be. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring this down to be in the middle. So bring it very much down. So let's bring this down. So there is one thing we have taken off. We shouldn't have taken that off, so that to guide people on what this particular sliders are all about. So let's turn up the header and go over to the value, and we give it to this color. So we make it to be italic, right? So let's select this very one. So here we go. We'll do the same thing to this one as well. We turn on the header and we go ahead and use this color here, and we do italic like this. Okay, once we have done this, this is coming down too much. So we have to just take time to actually adjust this to fit into what we actually want. Okay, now we have all of this. I can select this and have this selected. They are both selected right now, but if I right click, what do I see? Oh yeah, I think it will appear. So if I right click, I can see group, and I'll have them grouped together. So they are grouped, they are actually one right now. All right, with this, on this particular one, I'm going to select this one and select this one here and go over to format and go to align and align to the center and align to the middle. Then I will just bring this here. They are actually aligned right now. Okay. Now that we have done all of this magic, let's now go over here and turn on what? Let's go over here, turn on bookmark and turn on selection. Once we have them turned on, we can close back this one here. So on this particular part is your bookmark. On this part is actually your selection. So if I select this now, it will actually give me the name of this. Let's go, don't double click, select it firmly. So we go over here. So we have the name as this. So I'm going to name this one to slicer. So slicer. So I'm going to select this one. I have the button. I have the second button right here. So what I'll do now, let's turn this off. So what we have turned off now is the close. So I'm going to name this one to be close. So the second one is nothing but the open. Okay, so now select this, and we're going to group them together. So click on group. So we do group to be open, close. Okay. Now, if I turn off everything, they are going to be hidden together. If I turn this now, they are going to be hidden together. So this is exactly what you need to understand about this. Okay, it is time for we to actually start to work with how we should have them hidden. So for the first time, I don't want to see my slicer. I want to, sorry, not the open one. This one here, I don't want to see it. Just go ahead and close this one, then have this one open down. Then this one, I'll turn it off. So it has been hidden now. Once that is hidden, I will make sure the close is actually hidden. So what is available now is open. So I will select this particular group here. I'll hold my control key to select this particular group. Can you see? Open close is a group that has this particular close and open inside them. So I'll go over to my bookmark. I'll click on a bookmark here. I'll actually double click over here and I'll type in here close. Right? So close. So with the close there, I'll come over here, uncheck data, uncheck this particular current page here. So we're going to actually select TED visual. And once we have done that, we just go to update. So we go back to this particular part right here. And now we bring on the slicer. So we now bring this one on and we have this one, shut down. So we hold this together. So the slider has been selected and the open and close has been selected. We go back right here right now. We actually add and we double click over here and we just say open. So with the open, we do the same thing. So we just say data, uncheck it, and current page now, we just do selected visual and we come over here, we update. So let's select this. Can you see it now? It's working 100%, right? So if it is working 100%, so we have done this, we can actually go ahead and go to format right now. So just come right here. If I select it once, nothing happens. So double click. So when you double click, it some kind of breaks the group between them and only select the active one that we can see physically. So what is selected now is open. So action, turn it on. Action, open it. Right here, you select what? You select bookmark. So when you select bookmark, you click on none and we are going to select here under none, we select open. So let us verify this. Hold your control key and click on it and it opened it. So now if we click over here, it cannot close it. So double click on this particular close and here is active. So make sure this one is turned on. Over here, we go for bookmark and right here from none, we choose close and hold your control key now to verify if this is working. So here we go, 100% working. Don't forget to save your work, is very, very important. So if there is anything that is left, that will be the filter over here, which we're going to do in the next video to come. Because if we go back right here, right now, let's see what I'm talking about. So over here on this particular one, we have other pages like the customer page right here. So we have not created this one. We are going to create this particular page and we have another page right here called trend. So as we are waiting for this one to come, please do practice on the one I have just released right now. And once this one comes, you're going to actually combine the knowledge you have here together with a particular one. Then you create something very solid. Thanks for watching.